Okay, it's the 24th of October. It's a Thursday evening around 7 o'clock when I'm doing this. Um, the weather's not too bad. It kind of cooled off out there, so really not much to talk about, but there is something to talk about as we get into Halloween. And I thought I'd show you what the weather right now looks like across the region for Halloween evening, whether if the kids still actually walk around on Halloween evening. I think most people do trunk or treat, which to me then I know they get more candy that way, but that's not what Halloween was about originally. And I didn't grow up like that. I went door to door. Um, anyway, I'll show you the weather for Halloween night, and then I'm going to show you how the weather could affect the election this year, and how it has in the past. And I'm going to show you what could happen this time around, and it gets interesting. So anyway, here is around 5 o'clock in the evening, you can see a frontal system here coming across up here, Erie, heading down towards Pittsburgh. As we move this ahead to around 8 o'clock, it doesn't make leeway into Jersey, Delaware, or most of Pennsylvania, but it is hanging from Pittsburgh across Bradford and then up here into New York. So that would affect, in those areas there, you can expect some showers and some rain just for a short period of time, and then that moves through, but that moves in through the overnight hours until it clears. So let's just move this thing ahead, and I'm going to fast forward this now. This is around 8 o'clock the night before the election. You got a frontal boundary out here, and you got a watch down here, and this comes about pretty quick. All right, now here's Tuesday. Here's Tuesday afternoon around 2 o'clock. Yep, we got another storm coming around here. I'm not sure what the name of this one's going to be. I didn't look, but you can see the swirl around here, and it's going to affect down south again. This is going to come across the north, and then it's going to kind of connect out over the coast there. So actually, you can see this thing move up. There's your storm. It's around 2 o'clock in the morning on the 6th, the day after the election. So where does it affect the day of the election? Basically, you got bands coming around into Florida, into Georgia, and South Carolina. And what happens is a lot of people won't go out in the rain, especially if they're preparing for a hurricane or a tropical depression. I'm not sure how strong this is going to get. But if they're prepping down here, there's going to be less people going to the polls, and again, that could affect, who goes out. I mean, generally, the more people that go to the polls favors the Democrats. See what happens. But this would cut down on people going to the polls down in this area here. And again, this is Trumpy's strong point down in the mountains down here. So again, it could affect his voting too. So it's going to be interesting. But to keep this in mind, the whole idea is you got a storm here. Now we just moved this ahead after Election Day. And you can see here is the day after Election Day. This is around 7 o'clock in the morning on the 6th. And here's your tropical depression, storm, low, whatever's left over. And you can see there's a lot of precipitation back here over Indiana and Ohio coming up. And this thing comes right up the coast once it connects. There it goes. See it coming up the coast? And this is early in the morning on the 7th, on Thursday, and it's coming up the coast, and then it just kind of works its way off. But you can see it comes up and up the coast and up. So this is where the election time is at. This is the problem with the election. If this is a strong storm, then we've got to consider, what that will do to the people going to the polls. Um, that's more than a tropical storm. This is your gusty winds. So again, eastern Florida, the Panhandle, again up in Georgia and North Carolina, they're all going to be preparing for a storm. Exactly where it goes, long way away. Okay, we're talking 2 weeks, but there's going to be something here. And the MJO favors the development of this also. It's gone into there. If you know anything about MJO, if you don't look it up, Mendelian oscillation. Um, when it comes around to 8 and 1, Helena and Helene or whatever it was called, and was the Milton, they both happened when the pattern rolled into phases 8 and 1, and again, this would be phase 8 and 1 again, coming around for the third time. So it's see what happens now. What this does when something like this happens late in the season, you get these storms. what it usually means is, I'd say towards the end of November into December, it's usually early cold. Then it means it warms up in January for a period of time then. But it would mean cold air comes in early in the season. And so that would be something to keep an eye on. Because then it only takes something to come off the coast with cold air. But we'll see. But anyway, I'm just giving you a heads up. Again, that's what I like to do. I try to warn you. So I'm giving you a heads up that this could happen down here in Florida. And it would be something to keep in mind. Let's see if I can bring this in a little tighter here. There you go. That would be on the 6th, about 2 o'clock in the morning, the night of the 5th into the 6th. So if election day is a few hours earlier, that would be right there. This is daytime, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon on election day. See what Florida's got going on here? People are going to be moving again. So that's going to affect election day. And as this comes up and as it comes by and it comes up and in, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be relocating. So, maybe down in Florida and in Georgia and South Carolina, voting early might be the way to go because that's possible on the table. And this is a GFS model that I'm looking at here. So that's what today's video is about. So if you got anybody down there, kind of give them a heads up that maybe, I'm not saying for sure, maybe this could happen around the 5th and the 6th. Also, that's just something that you need to keep your eye on for people family that might need to move. And again, moving would be towards the East Coast, or at least off the coastline. But right now that's kind of what we're looking at. Let's see if I can figure something out here. Total precipitation. Let's see who gets the strength of the rain. Okay, that would be the strength of the rain. So again, Florida would be wind and power outages more than down here towards Tampa and Sarasota and Fort Myers and all. It would be more of a wind and power outages and maybe even a couple of tornadoes. But here's where the heavier rains come up through the panhandle and up this way. And here's Georgia and around here. So you know how hurricanes are. You can't predict them. You can't predict them, but keep that in mind. And if you're out here in the Bahamas, look at this rain. So that's going to fall. Let's see where that's going to fall. That's going to come, it's going to feed into the 4th. So that's going to be around the 4th, the 3rd and the 4th of November. And then this thing comes up with the rain on the 5th and the 6th. Okay, this is Fred. That's just a heads up. Again, I'm not a hurricane forecasting person, but I'm just showing you what's out there and what could possibly happen. So it's always good to be prepared, especially in places that have already been hit down here. All right, take care, everybody. Be safe. I'll talk to you tomorrow night.